Radio Rahim with the man who everybody knows, Teddy Atlas. You know, this is one of those close fights. You know, there's a lot of people arguing at home right now on the internet. It's going back and forth. How did you call it?
I had Bradley winning by 1 point. I picked Bradley going into the fight to win a 12-round decision. But I had it real close, and he pulled it out for me. He got that 1 point lead in the last round when he staggered Marquez. But he had the right blueprint. He had the right fight plan to counterpunch the counterpuncher. You know, a lot of people don't understand what Marquez is. After he knocked out Pacquiao, they thought he was a seek and destroy missile. He's not. He's a counterpuncher. You know, he needs your cooperation. He needs you to walk into things a little bit. You know, he's not a guy who initiates. He's not a guy, Marquez, who really goes after and creates his own offense so much. He looked for you to help him create it a little bit. Hey, to the credit of Bradley, not only speed, not only heart, but good intellect. He understood that. He understood what the fight plan needed to be. Stretch the ring out, keep space between you, you know, step out and make Marquez come out of his comfort zone. Make him come forward and do things he's really on his strength and get chances to counter him and use your jab on the outside, because the counter punch, it's hard to counter a jab if you're keeping the right space and you got the right speed with it. He fought the right he had the right plan, and for the most part he executed it really well.
I'll say for my sake that I was pretty surprised that Marquez was able to keep up the pace for all 12 rounds. Did that surprise you? And what do you think that Marquez could have done to turn the fight his way to get that point and win the fight? Look,
there were little spots there where Marquez counted. I thought there were rounds there where he won rounds by single counter punches. Maybe if he put a second one behind it. He's usually a pretty good combination puncher. He was throwing single counter punches instead of doubles and triples. That could have been the difference. That's one thing that definitely could have been the difference. But I'm not surprised by Marquez's stamina. I mean, yeah, he's 40 years old, but he's in great shape. He's coming off the biggest win, so mentally, you know, biggest win of his career, so mentally he's in a good place. I thought that it really came down to what Bradley was going to do. And I felt that if Bradley, as I said earlier, had the right blueprint, understanding what he had in front of him, identifying what was in front of him, not just a good puncher, you know, a guy with all those knockouts and 61 fights and 50 knockouts or somewhere around there, never been knocked out in his career, terrific warrior, but a counterpuncher, a guy where you got to walk into traps. And Bradley understood that. And like I said, he made the 40-year-old use his legs coming forward, stretch that ring out a little bit, where it gave him opportunities to fight his fight. A fight that made more sense for him, less sense for Marquez. When you do that, guess what? You win.
Now, with all that said, Marquez is 40. If you were advising him, if you had his ear, what would you tell him to do at this phase of his career?
Look, he still looks good, but I wouldn't go too much longer. You know, Father Time is usually... he's undefeated. You know, I wouldn't go to all the accomplishments, everything he's done for his family, he should be able to share with his family in good health. So, you know, you've accomplished a lot. You're in a good position in your life. You know, let's get ready to walk into that sunset in a real proud way, in a real healthy way.
And lastly, Teddy, Mike Tyson was here tonight. Whenever you guys are in the same building, it always gets the nostalgia going. How do you feel when you see Mike? Do you guys have words? What that relationship's like now?
Well, Mike came up to me in my last show of the year, my ESPN Friday Night Fight a few months ago. We did our last show up in Verona, New York, at the Turning Stone Casino, and he's now a promoter, and his company was the promoter of the show, and he came up to me and asked if he could talk to me and apologize. Actually, he did it on the air. I didn't realize he was going to do it. He came behind me and he wanted to apologize, and I'm just, you know, and I appreciated that, and I take him for his word. I felt that it was sincere, it was heartfelt. And I just like them to be, you know, all the crap about, you know, people say, well, what do people think about you, and how do you fit in with someone, and what it comes down to at some point, I know it sounds cliche-ish, but it's true. Are you happy with yourself? Do you feel like you're content with yourself? Are you comfortable with yourself? Can you have a life? And I hope that he's happy with himself. I hope he's content with himself. I hope he's at peace with himself, and I hope he has a good life.
Teddy Atlas, it's a pleasure and an honor. Radio Rahim with Teddy Atlas.